Here we go. Today we're going to talk about emotions and essential oils and how to release our negative emotions, how to get rid of blocks that maybe keep us from things in life that we need and want. Really excited about this class, you guys. Also, little part of me is terrified to give this because I've never given this class before. I have all this nerdy research in my head, and it's going to just come out. You know how when you've given a class 10 times, you can do it really, really great and smoothly, but the first time it's kind of sometimes like, oh. That's just what I fear, but you know what? You all are so forgiving and loving, and you just want the information, so that's great. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about emotions, and let me do a couple checks here and make sure everything is going well as far as I'm actually live. And like I said before, there's a webinar being recorded and a Facebook Live. So for the webinar people, when you see that I'm responding to someone's comments and you don't know where those comments are coming from, they're not. It's coming from Facebook and you can't be a part of that. I'm sorry. All right. So here we go. Yes, we're live. Looks good. Okay. No worries then. So if you have comments, you can post and I will see on my phone and I will respond to you. Okay. Hey, Amber's here. All right. So I'm going to get started. And I'm going to turn off James Brown. Okay, you guys. So this, I want to preface this class because actually I've been wanting to do this for a while. I want to do a live aroma freedom technique in here, and I'm going to do that at the end of this class and take you through it. I have been looking at all the different emotional release techniques over the last 6 months. And honestly, you know, there's some of them are, I mean, they're all good. They all work. They all seem to work. Some of them are like 1,000 steps, though, to like emotional release. And I'm like, I don't have time for this, you know? So I've been kind of looking for what's simple, what's basic. And I happen to know there is one coming out sometime, hopefully this year. And actually a technique and a book and everything I'm super excited about by someone we know and love in our upline. But it's not out yet, and until I haven't even seen it, or I've seen part of it. But what I have found and love is the aroma freedom technique. And so we're going to learn about this today. This is a technique by Dr. Benjamin Purkis. He is a clinical psychologist, and he developed this. He started using essential oils with some of his techniques, and he started seeing amazing, like way quicker, way faster results. And so that's what we're going to talk about. But before we go there, I want to talk to you because you may be a skeptic, and you may, I mean, I kind of was at the beginning. You may kind of wonder, like, how do you quantify an emotion, and how can you physically, I mean, I love nerdy science, so I want to see it spelled out to me. Like, seriously, I want to see chemically how this works, right? And that's what we all, because we don't want to be bamboozled. We don't want to be told that, oh, this works and it really isn't doing anything. We want to like scientifically quantify it. So so that's what you're about to get is some really nerdy, really geeky, possibly boring, make you snooze if you're really not focused information, but it's really good. And I think this is a foundation for learning about how to release your emotions. Hey, Beverly, I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you. Okay. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to be referencing a few books. This, if you're really into the geeky, nerdy stuff, this is the book to get. Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert. This woman, I think she passed away in like 2003, but she was a leading scientist. Hey, Valerie. She was a leading scientist in the 70s. She is the one who discovered the opiate receptor in our body, and that may mean nothing to you, but it's a big deal. And she is responsible for finding out a lot of things about the science part of this. And so I'm going to be reading a lot from this book. So again, Candace Pert, PhD, Molecules of Emotion, the Science Behind Mind-Body Medicine. This is the book to get, okay? And then again, of course, the Aroma Freedom Technique by Dr. Benjamin Purkis. These are the two main books I'm going to recommend. So first of all, in college, I went to Oral Roberts University, and the big philosophy there is body, mind, spirit. It's in the logo. It's like they teach that from the day you walk in the door. You are body, mind, and spirit. You are three parts combined as one, and it cannot be separated. Now we know today's the medical establishment, they separate it and they only treat the body. They don't, if you have cancer, they're not looking for an emotional cause. They will never look for an emotional cause. So if you have something emotional that has created that in your body, that they will never solve that problem. You have to get to the roots of everything and just look at everything as a whole. Like if I came down with cancer, I would be saying, all right, maybe it's a physical thing. Maybe it's a nutritional thing. Maybe it's an emotional thing and a spiritual thing. I need to look at the whole picture and try to attack from all sides, not just from my physical realm, right? So, so body, mind, spirit. Hey, Emmy, glad to see you. So anyway, so knowing that we're all intertwined, body, mind, spirit, we're all one, everything affects each other. And even the Bible talks about this. Like it says in Proverbs 17:22, a merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. That's just referencing that spirit, body, mind connection and how they all affect each other. Proverbs 18:14, the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear. That scripture breaks my heart because it tells me that the spirit of man will sustain me through an illness. That my spirit can actually help heal my body. But if my spirit is wounded, if I've got emotional blocks and hangups and things that I've held onto and have not let go, I might not be able to recover. So yes, right? So so important. We're so connected. We've got to look at the emotions as a big part of our body, as a big part of our wholeness and wellness. So here we're going to go into the science nerdy part of this, all right? And this is a quote from the Huffington Post, right? Hey, Don, so good to see you. Here's a quote from the Huffington Post. One study conducted by psychologists from Harvard School of Public Health and the University of Rochester found that suppressing emotions may increase the risk of dying from heart disease and certain forms of cancer. This confirms earlier studies that have linked negative emotions like anger, anxiety, and depression to the development of heart disease. The health risks increase, it seems, when people have no way of expressing or acting on their feelings, the researchers say. We know that stress can build up and become chronic when our natural fight or flight response meant to help us survive in conflict situations are frustrated. Similarly, detrimental effects may occur when negative emotions remain unexpressed, okay? But how about the positive emotions? Can they make us healthier? Yes, especially if we allow ourselves to express them, a separate study from Harvard found. Here's a quote, individuals with great emotional vitality have a much lower risk of developing heart disease compared to the less emotional expressive. According to Dr. Laura Kudzonski, a professor of human health and development at Harvard School of Public Health and lead author of the study report. There are mechanisms at play we don't fully understand yet, she said, but there's evidence that positive emotions can provide some sort of restorative biology. Right? I mean, I'm just like, we know this, we've seen it, we know it in our hearts, but we haven't ever seen it expressed, and this is so awesome. So we've got to learn to be emotionally expressive. We've got to be able to release the blocked emotions. If you've got hangups and unforgiveness and things in your past, they have energy. They have vibrational energy. So if you get offended, you got hurt, someone really hurt you, that emotion has a frequency. It has a vibrational frequency. And this is something that Dr. Purkis talks about. It has a vibrational frequency that gets stored in your energy at that frequency. So you have that energy in you. That energy is like vibrating, even though you've stuffed it and you don't want to deal with it, and maybe you think you're not dealing with it and it's like from years ago. It's in your cells, stored in your liver, or stored in your pancreas, or stored in, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but your body is a hard drive, and it stores a part of your memory, the emotional, the energy part of it gets stored in organs. And let's say anger is known for the liver. So let's say you're angry. Well, that it's a really, that vibration gets stored in there. That memory, that cell gets in there, and it's at that vibration. So that when that emotion comes back up, you feel it at the same vibration. You're there. If you remember it, you're there. So that energy is locked in your liver. It's locked in there, and it's vibrating. And if it doesn't ever get released, it will eventually fester a disease because it's got the energy to do it. All of this is so like, I just love this stuff so much. Okay, so so this was all taken from the Huffington Post, something the general public reads. Now I'm going to take you into the research of Dr. Candace Pert, a pioneering neuroscience researcher who, while still a graduate study at Johns Hopkins in the 1970s, discovered the brain's opioid receptor. She is known for her groundbreaking research into the mind and emotions. Sorry, I've got two different cameras here, two different groups of people, and I'm trying to hold the book up for both. Okay, all right. So here's this. You guys gets heady, so bear with me. It won't last forever, but this is really, really good stuff. But it can be a little like, oh. I have to read it sometimes a couple times through to really get it. All right. So Dr. Pert discovered the opiate receptor. It launched her career. She also discovered that peptides are a physical representation of our emotions. You guys, I try to look up peptides. Peptides are like are chains of amino acids. It's all broken down. You can see it chemically in front of you, though you may not understand, I don't know if you're not a biology expert, but she discovered that peptides actually physically represent our emotions. So like when you are really happy, your cells are flooded with a specific kind of peptide. And when you're really sad, it's a lack of the peptides. And so you can actually see when you have certain emotions, you can follow it by watching the peptides. So when we are happy, our cells are flooded with specific peptides. When we are sad, the cells have a retreat of peptides. The peptides take up the same receptors that viruses enter your cells in. So when you are happy, your cell receptors are filled with peptides that do not allow the viruses in. They fill up all the receptors. When we are depressed, the peptides are gone and the receptors are open then, and then viruses can find their way in. It's fascinating research, you guys. So when you are whole and healthy and you're feeling really good about yourself and life and what's going on, you have a higher level of these peptides that coat your cells. And they coat the cells, so those receptors are not open to viruses. Isn't that so cool? Like, hey, Hannah, so glad to see you. Okay, so what we've been talking about, just real briefly, Hannah said, I know you just joined on. We've just been talking about, first of all, the Aroma Freedom Technique by Dr. Benjamin Purkis. That's something we're going to be going over in a little bit. And then Candace Pert. This is a book, you guys, if you're really into the nerdy science stuff, you really need to get this book. Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert, okay? And I'm just breaking it down. So you just came in, Hannah. Oh, that's okay, no worries. But just so you know, you just came into the really nerdy, geeky, boring, almost boring information that I'm reading off. Is just some really technical stuff. Okay, so yes, peptides. So emotions can be quantified by peptides. When you have a flood of peptides that when you're happy, peptides flood your cells and they protect your receptor sites. So they take up the same receptor sites that viruses do. So when you're happy and you have a lot of those peptides flooding your cells, the viruses cannot make their way in the receptor sites of your cells. When you are not happy, when you have emotional blocks and you're downtrodden, you have less of the peptides coating those cells, and then the receptor sites are open and viruses are able to make their way in. Isn't that cool? Okay, moving on. Candace Pert appeared in the film What the Bleep Do We Know? An awesome, accessible quantum physics flick for those who want to explore the rabbit hole. And then she wrote an equally amazing book, this one I just have shown you now, Molecules of Emotion. All right, from page 189 in her book, I want to read you a little bit of this. Okay, hey Valerie, okay, I'm so glad it's not boring to you. If I were to read this to my husband, he'd be like, read to me so I can fall asleep. All right. In summary, the point I am making is that your brain is extremely well integrated with the rest of your body at the molecular level. Every one of the zones or systems of the network, the neural, the hormonal, the gastrointestinal, and the immune, is set up to peptide receptors. Every second, a massive information exchange is occurring in your body. Imagine each of these messenger systems possessing a specific tone, humming a signature tune, rising and falling, waxing and waning, binding and unbinding. And if we could hear this body music with our ears, then the sum of these sounds would be the music that we call emotions. Emotions are the nexus between matter and mind, going back and forth between the two, influencing both. Emotions. Okay, so and then I want to talk about emotions stored in our cells, because this is something we hear, and I've heard this so many times, but I'm like, where is the scientific proof, you know, that emotions are actually stored in our cells and in our organs? So Dr. Pert is also responsible for discovering this, that emotions are stored in different organs of our bodies. It's as if our body is a hard drive and the brain chooses to store different emotions in different organs, instead of everything just being stored in the brain as we have thought before. Now, Dr. Benjamin Purkis, I think it says, is it him? He broke it down even more. And so I'm going to find that in a minute here and show it to you. But he basically said that, yes, so when you store an emotion, you actually store the memory of it in your brain. The vibrational energy of it gets, and the feeling of it gets stored in your liver. And so it's like, or your organs or whatever. So you really, I mean, mind, body, spirit, it's not like everything is stored down in that liver. It's like a part of it stored in your liver, a part of it stored in your brain, a part, you know, and you make all these connections. And when you bring up an emotion, it accesses all of that at the same time and brings it up. So that's a little bit more information maybe. But okay, so here's a little bit more nerdy information. CRF is the peptide of negative expectations, since it may have been stimulated by negative experiences in childhood. There are animal studies, for example, showing that monkey babies deprived of maternal nurturing, neglected or abused, in effect, have high levels of CRF and have high steroid levels. We can get stuck emotionally because feelings get retained in the memory, not just in the brain, but all the way down to the cellular level. This is how it works. As CRF levels increase in highly stressed infants and children, the receptors for CRF become desensitized, shrinking in size and decreasing in number. These changes happen when receptors are flooded with a drug your body produces naturally or a pharmaceutical drug. The memory of the trauma is stored by these and other changes at the level of the neuropeptide receptor. So we're talking emotions, we're talking peptides, this is the level at which your emotions are stored, is at the neuropeptide receptor, which is on your cells. Some occurring deep in the interior of the cell at the very roots of the receptor. This is taking place body-wide. Although such changes can be reversed and need not be permanent, this takes time. So good news is it can be reversed. If you have that kind of a trauma, you have stuff, childhood trauma, it can be reversed. Okay, so from page 306, she says, it's true, we do store some memory in the brain, but by far the deeper, older messages are stored in the body and must be accessed through the body. Your body is your subconscious mind. Hello, that was a big deal to me. Your body is your subconscious mind, and you can't heal it by talk alone. I think unexpressed emotions are literally lodged in the body, Pert has said. The real true emotions that need to be expressed are in the body. trying to move up and be expressed, and thereby integrated, made whole, and healed. Okay, so now we know that the mind stores emotions in our body. Here's a few interesting facts. Carolyn Mine, DC, author of Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. I don't know if you've seen this book, you guys. This is another great resource. And she has some emotional release techniques in here. However, she is all about releasing patterns and instead of specific memories, which I love the AFT. I like the AFT better because he goes to memories first, and that affects your patterns. Anyway, they all are different in work and whatnot. But anyway, this lady says that emotions have been found to be encoded within DNA of the cells and passed on from generation to generation. And I saw this in the book, and she cited this, so there was some research and stuff on this. Emotional behavior patterns have even been found to be locked within families. You ever heard about the scripture that talks about generational curses and how curses go down to 4 generations? I've wondered about that often when I think about this. Emotional behavior patterns have been found to be locked within families. Transplant recipients report strange memories and desires, which further substantiates that emotions are stored in the body and encoded in the DNA of our cells. So yeah, I've heard of stories like where someone gets a heart transplant and then they have memory, a childhood memory of the person who the heart transplant is from. And it's bizarre. I mean, but it's cool. And I mean, that would show that maybe the brain is using the body to store genetically encoded emotions and memories. Okay, so anyway, this is a good book too. And then there's another one that I kind of want to tell you what some of the other. Where'd it go? Someone came in here and took my book. Here it is. No one took my book. All right. So another good resource for emotional release is Conquering Toxic Emotions by Rhonda Fabno. And she has a nice emotional clearing technique that's pretty simple as well. So I want you to know there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of things. And they're all of these people are coming up with processes to help you access those memories, access those negative emotions, and help you release them. So if you try one and it's like not perfect, you don't feel like it's working, try one of these others. There's different things, but I do think you're going to be really amazed with this one. I really do. Okay. Let's see. All right. So Dr. Benjamin Purkis is the clinical psychologist. He's the guy we're going to talk about now. He's a clinical psychologist who has created the Aroma Freedom Technique. It is a step-by-step process designed to be learned and used by anyone who wants more freedom in your life. It's an entirely new approach to aromatherapy, one that uses the power of pure essential oils to instantly and irresistibly shift a person's mental state, mood, and ability to take positive action. And I've experienced that, and I will tell you about that. It's amazing how instantaneous I feel like this technique is. Through this process, you will learn how to identify what you really want in life, what is blocking you, and how to release these blocks in a matter of minutes. Then you learn a daily practice to keep you on track. It's amazing. You set your intention. So you have to kind of figure out what your intention is going to be in your emotional release session, okay? So this is something that you may need to think about for a few minutes here, because we're going to walk through it, and it'd be great if you kind of had something, even if it wasn't a major thing, just a little thing. And I've got a little exercise to help you maybe come up with something, but I think it's always easy to start with forgiveness. If you surely, the way we are, there's somebody who has hurt you or offended you, and you remember that and you have an emotion about it. Like, you try to forgive, but it's hard to forgive people, especially if they don't want to be forgiven. That to me was the hardest. Like when somebody who has wronged you over and over in their life and they don't acknowledge that, and they don't care, and they don't actually want forgiveness because they don't think they've done anything wrong, those kind of situations. Like, how do you forgive someone who doesn't want to be forgiven? That's hard, right? So think about something as we get ready to go through this technique. And maybe forgiveness would be a good stepping stone. And then I'll prep you, because we're going to do this every Friday this month. We're going to go through this Aroma of Freedom technique online here in this group, and I'm going to walk you through it. So we can dig later and like maybe big things, or some other things, like even like one person I saw do one of these, and it was just like she was like, my intention is I need marital harmony. Like, she wasn't getting along with her husband, and she didn't believe it was possible. Like, they thought they were on the road to divorce, and she was like, I don't even think it's possible. That's what I desire. My desire is for better marital harmony. So that could be your intention, or your intention, there's so many things. It even could be just that I want to expand my business. My intention is I want to grow my business. I want to be a diamond in Young Living, right? But you have emotional blockers in you that are set up. It's your ego. It's your subconscious has set up protection for you. And you have to go along and find, we have to figure out those things, because our mind wants to protect us, but a lot of those times they're things from our past that have nothing to do with our future, but they will keep us from our future. And so this process helps you identify those things that are blocking you. And say you want to be a diamond, but you've got a lot of fears, but you're not going to talk about them, but you don't think you really could do it. You want to do it, but you don't really think you can. And it's those voices of, I don't really think I can. Those are the voices that we're going to tear down in this technique. So think about what your intention is going to be as I finish this up, and then we're going to go into the thing. Think about what you would like to personally work on in this session. Okay. So let's see. Just make sure I'm on the right track. Okay, so yeah, I was going to actually give an example. I had a friend who got certified in this, and actually I'm thinking about doing this, and this is something you can get certified in. It's not hard. I think you have to go through 6 weeks of training online with him, and I think it costs $500, and then you're certified, and you can do this. Maybe I'm supposed to be certified, but I'm not really. I'm giving you all kinds of disclaimers. I'm not professional, and I'm not promising anything. It's just, I want to help you learn how to do this for yourself. But if I were to get certified, which I'm thinking of doing this year, then you could actually sit down with somebody and lead them through a session and one-on-one do this. So my friend who got certified, she had to do this with so many people to get her certification. So she did it on me. And I was like, she asked, could I please try this out? And I'm like, sure. I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. But so I did have this experience with a family. I had been in ministry as a worship leader on the board of a church. And I had, this family had come into our church, and this was not my current church and current situation, so just to protect the people y'all know. But they came in, and they were musical. Everyone loved them. They were great, but they lied about a lot of things. They actually physically stole music from our equipment. They were caught, had stolen stuff. I was like, what? They did a lot of things that showed on the underside that they were not who they were showing on the outside. And the pastor protected them, but confronted them. And because of that, they got really nasty and started spreading horrific rumors and lies about people on the board, about people that I knew, that I loved. And I was really angry about it. And I got angrier and angrier because I wasn't allowed to talk about it, because nobody knew the truth about what was going on. But the pastor still, in his counseling of them, was protecting them from ridicule, which I'm like, why are you protecting? I'm glad I'm not the pastor, because I'd be like, hey, everybody, I just want you all to, or no, not really, but maybe to a degree. But anyway, I was really upset about these people. And so, but I had to stuff it, because I wasn't allowed to talk about it in public. I wasn't allowed, there's nobody I can talk to about it except for like a family member. And so I stuffed it. So whenever I think of those people, I get angry, like, oh, huge emotions. It's because I wasn't allowed to do anything with it. Hey, Karen, sorry, I didn't see you. Hi, Karen, glad to see you. Okay, So my friend took me through this technique, and she was like, what is your intention? And my intention is, when I think of these people, I don't want to be angry. I just want to I want to still be able to minister life to them. But with a disassociation of all that anger. And so she goes, okay, let's do it. So she took me through this process. And she goes, on a scale of 1 to 10, how easy do you think it's going to be to forgive them? And I'm like, 2. Like, I'm mad. I'm still mad at them, right? And so she took me through the steps, and we did again. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? How easy would it be to forgive them? And I'm like, like a 5, you know? And then we did again, and then I'm like, I think like an 8. Like, I think I could really forgive these people. And what it did is it took me through a string of memories that my brain had made of them, and it disassociated the intense emotion from each one of those memories. So now I still have the memories, but I don't have the anger, and I don't have all the stuff, right? So anyway, it really worked. It was really good for me. And now I can talk to those people, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I mean, I'm not going to be my best friend, right? But I don't feel bad. I don't hate them. I'm not angry. So it did really help me. So anyway, I want to help you to try this. And I've got the form, and I'm just going to walk you through this. So if you guys are willing and you want to try, maybe make sure you have a nice quiet space. If you want to take some notes, that might be good. But if you don't want to, especially this first time, because we'll do it again next week, if you just want to sit here with me and just do what I ask you to do, you'll need some oils. I don't know if you have, Dr. Perkis recommends the release blend of frankincense, stress away, and lavender. So the 3 of those together, so in the future, if you do this, you might want to get a roller bottle or blend those all 3 together in a bottle and make that your release blend. The other thing is Young Living has Release, actual bottle called Release, which is great to use, or Inner Child. This is a good one too. So now, and I have my friend who did this for me, she said, she's like, if you don't have the right oil, just pick any oil, because you want to stimulate your amygdala. And really, if you just, whatever oil you have there today, especially when you're just starting, just grab something. Make sure you have an essential oil, a pure essential oil from Young Living that's not gonna, toxify your brain when you breathe it. And just so grab something. If you have nothing else, maybe frankincense. That would be really good too. Frankincense, I know, stimulates your amygdala. On MRIs, they do it, and it really lights up the brain in that area. So, okay, so here we go. We're gonna start. Are you guys ready? All right, I'm excited. So identify that goal or the intention. What is it that you want? Do you want to forgive somebody? Do you want marital harmony, with your spouse? Do you want to get rid of a limiting belief, something that you know is not true, but you kind of believe it? Like the book talked about a guy who had been through, a tragic divorce and as a child, and so he believed that nothing is stable in life. And he can't make commitments because nothing is stable in life for him. So that was something he needed to work through. He knew that life can be stable. He just didn't feel like it was. So pick out your intention, get your intention. What is it that you're wanting? All right. So you're going to set your intention. Maybe it's, when you're forgiving somebody, it may be that I want to think about that person and not have a big emotional flare up, or I want to forgive that person and not feel emotional about them or something. Okay. All right. So let's think about that. This is what my intention is. Okay, now I want you to think on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is you're absolutely confident and 0 is totally hopeless. How possible does that intention actually feel? You might write this part down, just like a little note of like, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being absolutely confident. How possible does it feel? If it's forgiving that person, and you could just say, oh, they're forgiven, how possible? Is it like 5, like 2, 0? Okay. Now, there's a negative voice that's talking to you. It's not a demon. It's not anything weird. It's your subconscious. Okay, so what does the negative voice say that tells you this is not possible? So think about that. What does the negative voice say that tells you it is not possible to reach this intention? Now, how do you feel when you hear this negative voice? One word, okay? So how do you feel? Like, disappointed, or like, is it, if you feel like it's impossible? And just, how do you feel when you hear this negative voice? What does it make you feel inside? Okay, do you have that word? Okay. Now, where do you feel this in your body? This is kind of subjective. And again, this is the first time we're running through this. If this is like, if I go too fast, please put in the comments, like, go slower. Because I don't have your feedback to know, like, I'm not talking with you to know, like, you need more time or something. So, but this is step 4. Where do you feel this in your body? So pay attention to your body. Maybe your shoulders tensing up, maybe your jaw tightening. Maybe it's just not real clear, but the first place you notice in your body might be your gut, might be something tensing up when you think about that negative voice that's telling you that it's not possible to reach this intention. Okay, now tune into that feeling in your, wherever in your body, and drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way. What memory comes up? It may be a totally different memory. Like, it may not be related to anything you're thinking. Let your mind go to a picture or a movie. What memory comes up? Okay, now, do you have a memory? Do you have something? If you think of that memory, and then smell your oil, smell that memory release blend, because you're going to stimulate your brain, the amygdala, while you're thinking of that memory, and the oil is going to tell that you can release it. Rub your hands together with the oil. Breathe it into the memory and into the tenseness for 30 to 60 seconds, all right? So we're just going to sit here. 30 to 60 seconds. Okay, now notice changes to the image, to the tenseness. Look for something new to emerge. What do you notice in your body, and what happened to the picture? Is there a new belief or mindset that may have emerged? Okay, so take this energy and come back to the original tension and think, What was your original intention that you wanted to, whatever it is that you're wanting, that you're striving for? Now on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being absolutely confident and 0 being totally hopeless, what do you rate the possibility of this happening? Okay. Now, it should have gone down a little bit. So if it was an 8 before, it might be a 7, might be a 6, might be a 5. And now we're going to repeat the process. So I want you to think about your intention. So your intention, again, is going to be something like, you're wanting to forgive somebody, or you're wanting to get rid of a limiting thought, but you have this internal dialogue that tells you it can't be done, or that it's just too hard, or something. So what is that intention? I want you to state your intention. Okay, nobody probably around you. If you can, say it out loud. State your intention. And how, on 0 to 10, how possible do you feel it is to actually achieve this intention? Okay, when you think about this intention, listen for the negative voice about and what it says about why it can't happen. So listen to that voice and what comes up that says that can't happen. And so maybe write that down, or just think about what that negative voice is saying. And then how do you feel when you hear the negative voice? What's the feeling? Guilt, shame, fearfulness? What feeling can you associate that with? And then where do you feel that in your body? Okay, so where do you feel maybe a tenseness or a tightness? Might be your jaw tightening up, might be your shoulders tensing, might be your stomach, something tensing. And now you drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way, the same feeling. Doesn't have to be the same situation, just the same feeling. Get a snapshot or a movie in your head of another time when you felt that way. Okay, now you've got that snapshot in that movie of a previous time that you felt that way in your head. You're gonna smell the memory release blend. Okay, now you've got that snapshot. So frankincense, lavender, and stress away, if you have any of those, or inner child or release, you're gonna smell that for 30 to 60 seconds. I'm gonna do just plain frankincense because I know that it'll do the job too. So 30 seconds to 60 seconds of just breathing this in and focusing on that memory or that snapshot. Connect that snapshot and the physical feeling in your body while you're breathing, and just see what happens to the memory and to the snapshot. Does it fade away a little bit? Maybe it's not as prominent. Okay, so is there a new belief or a mindset that may have emerged? If so, write it down. Now read your original intention again, and we're going to rate it again. So what your intention is, you know, whether it's a forgiveness of a person or a mindset or something that you're wanting to overcome, say it out loud, and then rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how possible does it feel right now to actually accomplish it? Okay, now I hope that your number has been going down. So if it, or sorry, going up. So if you're at an 8 or more, you're done with this exercise. And we move on to the very last part of it. If you are not quite at an 8 yet, you need to do this a few more times. You do this, and so let me explain a little bit about what Dr. Perkins talks about is that our brains, when you have a traumatic, let's just say you have a memory of anger, you have anger about something, and somebody hurt you when you're a kid, and you store that memory. It doesn't store it chronologically. It doesn't store it. I mean, how your brain stores it is by feeling. So all of the anger emotions get stored together. So when it's asking, this exercise is asking you to drift back to an earlier time when you felt the same way. You're going to, another time when it felt the same way, that memory is strong and connected to the other memory, to all of the anger memories. They're all connected together. And so when you can start to dissolve the emotional intensity around each one of those, it starts to dissolve the chains for all of them. And so that's the association and how your brain is storing your memories. So if you aren't up to an 8 or higher on the scale, you're going to go back and do this again. And I'm going to post this. Well, I have posted before in the group, and I think it's in the files, but I'll repost it again today so that you can get this worksheet and you can do this yourself. So you just start again, you read that intention. I want to forgive this person, and I don't want to feel incredible anger every time I see them. Okay, so you set that intention. And how positive do I think I can do this? Well, I feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really totally able to do it, I feel like I'm at a 2. Okay, well then you go through this process, and when you bring up the memories that are all associated together with that feeling, because your brain has stored it as them all together as feelings. You smell the memory release blend. That blend is going to stimulate your amygdala and tell your brain it's okay to go, and it releases. And you disassociate the emotion of it with the actual memory. And you'll still have the memories. You'll still have a memory of someone hurting you or someone doing something to you, but now it's not emotionally charged. And that vibrational energy I was telling you about, the vibrational energy of the anger you had is stored down in your liver at that high frequency, that's going to, if it's not released, it's going to create, it's going to create disease state in your liver later. If it's not ever released, because it's got a lot of energy because it's emotionally charged. So by doing this, you're releasing all of that. You're releasing that energy, and you still have the memory in your brain, but you don't have that vibrational, emotionally charged energy in your organs that will cause the disease and cause the problems. And you'll be able to be healthier and happier and have more peptides flowing over your cells that we were talking about earlier, if you missed it, that the emotions are quantified in peptides. You can see when you're happy, there's a certain string of peptides that flow over your cells, and when you're not happy, they're gone from your cells. And those same peptides that they go in through the receptors on your cells that viruses go in through. And if you're happy, generally really in good emotional health, those peptides coat your cells so that viruses cannot enter. But when you are sad and you're depressed and you have issues and emotional things you haven't worked through, then you have less of those coating your cells, allowing openings for viruses to come in and bring you down. That's a summary, you guys, of what we've talked about today. So now you're at this point in this emotional release where we're going to say that you're at an 8 or higher, okay? And so what you're going to do then is you're going to create a new statement, an affirmation that expresses the new mindset that you have developed. So for the lady who felt like she was headed towards divorce, and her intention was, I want marital harmony. That was the one she had gone through, that I watched her go through it. When she got to this stage, she changed her affirmation to, I am able to I am able to portray my feelings to communicate to my husband so he understands. And so she, in that process, realized she wasn't communicating well with him so that he understood her fully. And so that's her new statement. So then what you do is you stand in a power pose, which is standing with either with your hands out or your arms open, or even your hands on your hips, but it just portrays power. I think the best one, he said, is hands out, arms open, which is giving and receiving love, I think. But either one of those. And then you smell the transformation oil blend. But again, if you don't have that, use something else. Use lavender or frankincense. If you were going to really do a lot of emotional work, I would encourage getting the transformation blend, because it was really, that's what it was developed for. But so you stand in a power pose with your hands on your hips, and 2 minutes a day, you say, for 2 minutes, you're going to stand and you're going to say that new affirmation. And it's weird, I know, and it's like, oh God, and people are going to see me, do it in private, whatever. But what you are telling and reprogramming your subconscious, and when you're standing in that pose, it speaks to your body. And you're saying to this lady, I am able to portray my feelings to communicate to my husband so he understands. So you switch it from I want to do this to I am doing this. I am, and that helps you to seal the deal, okay? So you've worked up to this point, and you've changed your mind, and you've changed the way you feel. And then for the next couple of days, you do that for two minutes a day, once in the morning, once at night, and you anchor it with an oil. So you're smelling the oil while you're saying that. So if you have to put a little under your nose and stand there, you do that for 2 minutes. It's an exercise, but it's a really beneficial exercise, and it will reprogram your mind, and it will help you to be able to walk out of that and have no emotional charge to that situation anymore. Okay. And that's reprogramming your subconscious. All right, you guys, do you have any questions? I feel like we just went through this big heavy thing, and now, but I can't talk to you face to face. So I want to see if you guys have any questions. This is your time. And also, I've never done this before online. So seriously, did I go too fast? Was it hard to do? Let me know in the comments, like, what you're thinking and how I might, because I can adjust this next week. We're going to do it again next week, next Friday. Every Friday this month, we're going to do it. Okay, Amber. Oh, yay, good. The first time you do it, it can be a little rough too. So we're going to do this every Friday this month. And I won't have such a long intro. This was the first time introducing it to everybody. So, okay, yay, yay, yay. I'm so glad. So I will go ahead and post these worksheets in the group so that you can download them and you can go through them yourself. And so, yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to introduce this. Would you suggest doing it with a friend, or we're doing it by yourself? I don't know. I did it. I had a friend do it to me, and then I did it myself on another thing. And but my personality type is different probably than your. I mean, I think you could try either one. I mean, I really want to get certified so that I know this like the back of my hand, so I can just really, really do it and help people. Like, if I'm thinking I'm someplace and someone's got an emotional breakdown, and we're, you know, want to minister to somebody, and you can walk them through it real quick. So, um, anyway, I don't really know. You're going to have to experiment, but I'm going to post the sheets, and we will do it again next Friday for anyone who wants to be walked through it again. And if you have any friends who, you know, are interested in this and who may be interested, add them to the group. This group, you can add people to this group as long, my big qualification is that they're already not a part of somebody else's Young Living downline. So anybody, whether they're in Young Living or not, if they're not in someone else's downline, you can add them to the group and then invite them to come and to learn about this, and we'll do it again on Friday. Okay, you guys? I love you, and have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, please comment in here, and I'll check on them later, and I'll let you know. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.